What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Bofina1 podcast. And man, has it been a long time since I have posted on this channel. I believe it's showing about a year, might be getting close to almost 2 years. I had started off with this podcast almost 2 years ago because a lot of people, I have my Bofina1 channel. A lot of people really enjoy that channel, for the commentary, for, just me talking about whatever it was. A lot of it was like gaming related. Then I kind of transferred over into like news related stuff because I kind of got sick of playing video games. And pretty much I just wanted to get on here, really revamp or revive this channel back, because as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that in all reality, I really enjoy more so having what I would consider to be free form discussion, meaning content that, I can just think of topics or have topics written down and then I just talk about them freely. There's no script, there's no nothing. As well as with podcasts, typically they're like a weekly thing, maybe bi-weekly, meaning every 2 weeks. So it's not something that I have to, I guess you could say, have to maintain as much as I would with a, like a YouTube channel, like a regular YouTube channel. I'm not saying that this is not a regular YouTube channel, but you guys get what I mean, like a channel where people are expecting to upload multiple times a week. I can make a video late at night for 30 minutes to an hour. And then, I don't really have a lot of editing I have to do because it is a commentary, not commentary, a podcast. A lot of time podcasts, it's free form, so I did write down a few topics. So the first one, I just kind of want to talk about, like, where have I been? How's life? And what am I doing on my other channel? Just what am I doing in general? So for the past couple years, well, obviously, we've been in COVID, the pandemic. So, the pandemic has definitely changed a lot of my life, but it's also made a lot of things I think better. So like, for example, I always was a saver, meaning I always put X amount of dollars into my savings account after I got paid. However, what COVID really did was, I'm still currently working at the job, but like my hours changed. I was working nights at my job, and it kind of made me realize, like, this is during all the like rioting and looting and just all the craziness that was going on. And it really started to make me think, like, because people were getting fired. I knew people personally that had got fired from their jobs. And it started to make me think that, you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket. And what I mean by that is, your job shouldn't be the only thing that you have going for yourself. You should have different investments. You should have just different things in general going on for yourself. That way, if, let's say, something happens, you like, okay, let's say you have your eggs invest into 10 different baskets. Well, let's say 1 or 2 of those baskets go down and they crash and burn, right? Well, though, you still have 8 other baskets that you're able to get income from, or 8 other streams of revenue, is what some people would say. And so that's what really started getting me into, is like when the pandemic started, I started investing into stuff. I started looking at real estate. I started looking at Roth IRAs, stocks, crypto. I started looking at everything because, like I said, the economy still is not that great. And it really wasn't that great then. People were losing their jobs, left and right. And so, I started doing more of that, changed over hours, started working days. So obviously I started having more energy, started feeling better. And then I just kept investing. And then also it kind of made me appreciate more of life, more of, getting out and enjoying myself. So traveling. So I've gotten a chance to travel a lot. I've been to Portland, Oregon, Ontario, California, Indianapolis, Indiana, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been to Wisconsin twice, went to Vegas. I'm planning to go to Disney World this year. And then I just got my passport. So there's a good chance next year I'll be able to go, out of the country, maybe Mexico, Jamaica, Canada, whatever the case is. This past couple of years, I really just been focused on like elevating and moving, my life in a different direction, which kind of leads to my next topic, which is talking about my main channel, my other channel, whatever you want to call it, Bofina1. I started that channel when I was in college, and I really had no sense of like direction. Like, I knew I was doing gaming, and that's when I was gaming. I was I wouldn't say broke college student, but I was a college student, didn't have a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera. So, I was playing games, and I was like, oh, hey, I see people are posting videos online, and, people would like their videos and comment, and people would have discussions underneath. And I thought it was a cool thing. So I was like, oh, okay, I want to try it. And so I was doing different things like, commentary, podcasts, vlogs, reactions. And, at the time, like I said, with me just posting content, not really looking at it as something I want to do full time or a hobby, whatever, I didn't realize that, with YouTube, it's hard for people to really get into your channel. if you have content that's kind of everywhere. And that's kind of what I think I'm going to start doing is I need to make multiple channels for different types of content. So like, for example, this is the Bofina1 podcast. So this is where you'll see podcasts, free form discussion, whatever you want to call it, creation or content here. If I want to do reactions, I need to make a separate reaction channel, and I always feel like, oh, why would you want to have all these different channels? Why not just put everything together? Well, the problem is that it confuses the audience. It confuses the audience that subscribes. So like, for example, that's why my channel, you could say, I don't feel like it's dead, but I feel like the views are not what they used to be because people were coming there for gaming related content. People were coming there for, gaming reviews or gaming podcasts, whatever, or even gaming reactions. Everything was gaming. And then once I started switching over to like news related stuff, I would say people kind of started to, veer away from that a little bit. And so the channel kind of started to stall because my core audience was gaming, people that wanted to hear only about gaming. So then once I started switching to other things, I think it kind of made the channel dry up. And that's why sometimes my views, they fluctuate like they do, because you'll see people that, oh, I'm talking about something they like, they may watch that video, but then you also may have new people that come to the channel and they look at it and then they realize like, oh, okay, I don't really know what her channel's about because it's everywhere. She has reactions, she has rants, she has, and in my mind back in the day, I was like, oh, well, this is a great channel because it's a little bit of everything. But from the YouTube algorithm and from like a viewer's perspective, you subscribe to a specific channel to get specific things. In a sense, you have to have a niche, or in a sense, it sounds bad, but the way the world works, the way, brand deal works, advertising works, all that stuff works is you have to put yourself in a box. You have to have a niche, and that niche is what gets people to come to your channel, and that's what gets people to like your videos. That's what gets people to subscribe, to share, to all that stuff. Not having everything 5 different ways. So I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that channel. I mean, I feel like right now it's still like a commentary channel, and that's kind of what I would like to keep it as. But I do want to branch out into other things that I like to talk about and do, and start making separate channels. Yeah, and my thing was always like, oh, well, the views are not going to be there, the subscribers are not there. But it's better to have lower subscribers and more viewer engagement, and the views are actually like from your core audience, than like my other channel, like my main channel is like I have views, but it comes from sometimes outside sources, and then they don't subscribe because they're not interested in the other videos, so it kind of has taught me, a little bit more. And then I'm just realizing as I'm getting older that, I don't play video games. Like I haven't turned my system on in months. Like I probably have so many updates. I don't play games as much as I used to. So in some ways I also feel like I have outgrown that. I like to do more, and I've always done more, thought thinking or thought processing, intelligent or, discussion driven type content. But it was always veered around gaming. And it's not that I don't enjoy gaming at all. It's just, I like to do things other than just play games now. I have other hobbies. Like I said, I started the channel when I was I think 20 or 19, so I'm 26. So you could see like, yeah, I'm clearly not the same person. I don't have as much time as I did like I was in school. I don't have big breaks, a lot of stuff. I have other things going on. But the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is actually a lot of people talking about, the state of the world, the war, student loans and whatnot, so a lot of people, kind of like what I talked about earlier, just people are really freaking out about what's going on in the world. Like, are we getting ready to hit a economic recession? Some people say that we already are in one, that we already are in a recession, meaning that, with inflation and stuff rising so high, because of things like gas prices, which has a lot to do with the war that's going on in Ukraine. And it's going to get to a point where people won't be able to afford basic things. I mean, some people are already going through that right now, where they're having to choose between putting gas in their car and buying food, and that's not a good situation to be in. You also can kind of see, even like on Zillow, when you go and look at homes and stuff, you're able to see that a lot of the home prices, like from last month to now, the recording of this podcast is June 1st, 2022. So like May, a lot of the home prices, at least where I live, like they had to price cut, meaning that they went down like 5, 10, 15, some have even seen $20,000 because the housing market has just crashed. People are just not buying homes right now because, it's like this. Let's say you're a tenant, you rent, right? you're renting somewhere and, you really want to go get a home, but in all reality, right now, you really cannot afford it because the housing market is inflated. So instead of you going out getting a home that you really can't afford, you're just going to be like, hey, we're just going to have to rent a little bit longer. And that's kind of what's going on. Stuff is starting to crash, which kind of leads to my next point, which, is talking about like stocks and crypto. And, people are freaking out about the stock market and the crypto market. I guess if you're someone that's like a day trader, or you're someone that's looking for stuff like short term, meaning you're looking for something that to make a quick gain, a quick capital gain. See, I've always been a person that's like a long-term investment. So I put my money in like with stocks. I have my Roth. So I have my index funds. I put X amount of dollars in every month when I get paid. Same thing with like crypto. I have certain cryptocurrencies I have, like they call the blue chips, like, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, then you have your altcoins. Technically Ethereum is an altcoin, but you get what I mean. Like your altcoins, like your manas, your NFTs, like just different coins that are not like your blue chips main top 10 or whatever, top 5 coins. And so I do that every month. I invest. But honestly, this is the time to invest. Like I said, unless you're a person unless you're a person that's like a day trader where you're trying to get in and get out, if you're a long-term investor, you would hope that the market goes down. You want it to go down right now because you don't want to constantly buying at the all-time highs. You want to buy in the middle, sometimes at the high, at the low. I mean, the whole point of investing in general is to buy low and to try to sell high. So right now, this is the best time to buy because in all the markets, stock markets, crypto, everything, people are at an all-time fear. Like it's almost like how they look in crypto when they look at the fear index, meaning how likely are people to buy something? How likely are people to invest into something? So right now it's really low. People don't have a lot of confidence in any of the markets, but it's the same thing like with anything. The people that buy when everybody else is afraid are the people that X amount of years from now are going to be the people that, you're going to be happy, right? It's almost like the people that bought into Bitcoin 5-10 years ago. Even though Bitcoin is down or some people say, oh, it's crashing, those people are still up crazy amount of numbers right now because they bought when it was low and people didn't believe in it. Now, it's all a gamble at the end of the day. Stocks are a gamble. Crypto's a gamble. Everything is a gamble at the end of the day. So never obviously invest what you can't afford to lose. Not financial advice, but I'm just, in general, that's like the number one rule. Never invest something that you cannot afford to lose, meaning don't go invest your bill money. Don't go invest money that you can't afford to lose. But this is the time when you should be investing. It's almost the same thing with the student loans. Like that's the next thing I'm going to talk about, because I'm getting close to being able to finish up with my student loans. Like I'm getting very close to being able to finish up. And so with that being said, with student loans being in forbearance, and I know Biden and them have been talking about, oh, they're going to take X amount of dollars off, this and that. And I mean, he's been saying that for a while now. And I'm not saying that it won't happen, but I'm also not banking on it. I mean, if they take off 10K, great. I will gladly take it. But I'm also not going to bank on that to happen, especially like y'all gotta be real. Like look at what's going on in the world. There's so many other things going on. We have the shooting that recently happened in Texas. You still have COVID, the cases are rising and it's spreading more and more. I mean, you literally have a little bit of everything going on. It's almost as if every time that the Biden and them start to talk about like student loans, something comes up that makes it where they can't get to it. And honestly, he has like one more year. I mean, he'll probably try to rerun, but the point is that I wouldn't be banking on the government to give free money. And plus, let's be honest, every time that they give free money, it always ends up, it shoots you back in the foot. I mean, look at what happened with the stimulus. Look at what all this stuff that happened. Like, people got all this free money. People wanted extra money to work in the stores. Okay, that's fine. Like you're working, say a minimum wage job and, you want to make more money. But also at the same time, that business owner, the person that owns that business that's paying you to work there, now in order for them to pay you that higher wage, one, they're going to have less of you, less people working, less employees. So that means the employees that are there are going to have to work harder. And then two, they're going to have to charge the consumer. So you being a worker, you also are a consumer at the same time because you're someone that's buying their products, especially if you're working like at a grocery store, etc. So I think like I said, people didn't think about how big of an impact this would all have at the end of the day. I think people just thought about it from, like I said, a short-term, like short term. They just thought about it. Oh, well, I'm gonna make this money and stuff is gonna stay the same. No, that it's not how it works. Like everything is pretty much based off of minimum wage. And as minimum wage goes up, everything else is surrounded minimum wage will go up. And I think, like I said, I just think people don't realize that. Like I said, this whole student loan thing, I mean, look at the percentage of people that actually are able to get, I don't want to say get by, but the percentage of people that are actually able to get money taken off. Like I said, this is your best bet right now, which is the forbearance, meaning that you're not paying any interest, because that's taking potentially months to years off. Like I said, I'm gonna be almost done with mine. So I've fully taken advantage of the forbearance. I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't for the forbearance, because I would have interest that I would be paying every month. So part of my monthly amount that I'm sending in would be going towards interest. So like I said, obviously not financial advice, but if I was one of y'all, I wouldn't stop paying. I mean, why? Because you can look at, like for me, it shows like it comes out of forbearance. I think it said October. You can see the monthly payment. The monthly payments are not going to stop. They're going to just keep going. So I just look at it like this. It's better to be safe than sorry. Some people say, oh, well, if you send money in and they take it off, that means that, if you think about it like this, you could have just saved the money that you were sending in. And that is true. I could have maybe saved the money I'm sending, but what if they don't take anything off? Then you're going to sit there having that regret, wishing that you would have, sent in money. So, like I said, everyone to each his own. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to get on here, just kind of like a little introductory podcast. Pretty much just saying like where I've been, how's life, what am I going to do with my other channel? What am I planning to do just moving forward? And pretty much like why I haven't posted on this channel. Like I said, I had stopped posting on YouTube. Like I recently just got back into the swing of doing YouTube. I would say I stepped away from it. Like YouTube had just got really boring. It got really mundane to me. The growth was like really slow. But like I said, you have to, if you really want, and that's what I'm starting to realize as I've gotten older, you have to start thinking about your channels from the viewer perspective. And I think as a content creator, and I'm guilty of this myself. A lot of time you think so much about what you want to create, what you want to do, but you have to remember that, yes, you're a content creator. Yes, you're making content that you like or a niche that you like, but sometimes you also have to create content that I would say maybe you don't necessarily enjoy, but the type of content that will attract X amount of audience that will get you to the point of doing something that maybe you like, if that makes sense. Because a lot of time I think I was making content that only I was interested in. And I wasn't using things like TubeBuddy. I wasn't updating my thumbnails. A lot of stuff I just wasn't doing. And I didn't realize that it was actually hindering my channel really from growing. And like I said, having multiple different things on one channel, it doesn't help it. It doesn't. You need to stick to a niche. And that's what I realized. Like I have to make separate channels for different things just because it's not going to work. My channel, that's why it's been stagnant for like 6 years. It grew up because, it blew up because I had, was posting gaming. And then shortly after I started switching to different things, it kind of started fizzing out because the people that came for the gaming were like, oh, what is she, like I was almost close to 600 subscribers. I've lost, well, not quite, but I think I was like 550. So I've lost multiple subscribers, because I kept changing my niche. And so it's like anything, you go, you watch a video that you see that's recommended, and then you go to the person's channel to see what other videos they do. But then you see, oh, they're doing this. Okay, I'm not interested. So then they don't stay. They just watch that video. It's the same concept. You have to have your channel a lot of time be niche to the videos that you're producing, or else your audience just will not grow. And that's something that I've learned, but that comes from, like I said, like doing it, creating content. That comes from doing it over and over and over, and researching and being in group chats and being on Twitter spaces and, really studying it and trying to perfect your craft. But that only comes from experience, at least, because like I said, there's nobody really in my hometown, or at least that I know, that does YouTube. So it comes from experience. But that'll end this podcast. Pretty much what you can plan to see forward is, like I said, probably a weekly podcast. Like I'm not going to try to post 2, 3, 4 times a week, because it's a podcast. It's not like your average YouTube channel. It's going to be once a week. Get to the point, I start putting my podcast back on Anchor, have some people on there, on here, I can have some more, discussions, and then also maybe have like a Q&A section as well, where I'll probably try to post on like Twitter, and you guys can, tweet at me saying like, oh, I have this question, I'll try to answer. You could, maybe I'll say put a question in the comment section below, or whatever the case is. But yeah, that will probably end this podcast here. And yeah, I'm back, and I'm gonna keep trying to post, if it's not once a week, once every other week. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll chat with you later. Peace.